Exciting, especially for a veteran, to get to this point in camp where you're really now starting to get that group together. What was it like out there today?
Yeah, it was good. After a while we had a full group of players there, and we're working on some special teams, and we had a good practice. So yeah, it's exciting time, and the the training camp is almost over, and now it's gonna be the fun time.
Clearly the fun time
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
For you, what do you kind of like about seeing that power play unit come together, seeing you with Jesper and all those guys?
Yeah, it's just good to feel. We never. It was our first time we practiced the
Yeah.
full unit together, so it was fun to spend the time a little bit on a PP and get better and better. And for sure, in next couple of days, we're gonna work on that more.
Do you feel at this point fully acclimatized to just being here, being part of the mix and all that? Is it took some time?
Yes, it took some time. So I know hopefully all the names by now, and yeah, yeah, everybody was very nice and welcoming to me. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar right now. Family's here, so everything's good now.
How is it to just now have that part of your life here?
Yeah, I mean it's huge, to get settled a little bit in the house and just to live normal. And it's our home now for a while, hopefully. And yeah, it's just exciting times right now, and can't wait for the season to get started.
And I remember when you first joined, and obviously through camp, talking about this group needing to take a specific next step to who you guys can be. Are you starting to see those habits maybe develop in practice right now, or is it more about? I mean, it is about executing in games too.
Yeah,
but-
for sure. I think the whole training camp we're trying to work on those, little things on our system. Coaches, give us a good system. We need to follow it, and it's on our players to do it and do it right in the games. And I thought we had a pretty good preseason.
Really getting down to the wire here, it must feel nice to sort of really start seeing the team come together.
Yeah, for sure. You feel like you're starting getting closer and closer every day now. So it's a great practice today. We had a good meeting before the practice, and we're all super excited. I feel like we've been playing the way we want to play during the preseason. So it's a lot of excitement in the room.
A lot of times, people say like, oh, you don't necessarily have to look at what happened in the preseason to sort of determine what's going to happen, right? Doesn't necessarily count at all, but it has to be for an athlete to have those performances under their belt very helpful, no? Like, it counts in a certain way.
No, I agree. Especially getting a couple wins in and really feeling that you're playing the right way. I mean, the score can be good and bad. Some games, and sometimes the puck bounces in and doesn't. But obviously, we want to feel like we're sticking to the process and we're playing the way we should. I think that's the most important, and I feel like we've been doing that so far. So it's a lot of excitement in the room, as I said, and we're ready to get going.
Now to be able to, at practice today, really working a lot with Bruno on the power play. Those power play units are more NHL guys now because we're at this point in camp. What did you sort of like from your unit, maybe having Ondrej in front of the net there? How did you sort of like the way things were playing out?
He brings a lot, obviously, in front. Like he's been playing with some really good players for a couple of years, and I mean he's got a lot of good advice. So it's a guy I'm definitely going to listen a lot to. And obviously me and Tuna and Jack and Doug has been playing for a while together. So it's a good unit. It was a good first practice. I feel we were taking steps, and obviously it's going to take a little while to get right into it. But we're going to keep the communication going and make sure that we're ready.
What do you look most forward to in these next few days where there's the final preseason game and then a few days before things really get going?
Yeah, keep playing the way we have so far in the last game, and make sure that we stay with the structure, we stay with the system, and we grow every day. I think that's the most important. And then the last couple of days here before the season start, really get together as a group and really set the standard for ourselves here. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So we know what Cher is like on the ice. What type of character? I mean, like, very rude to come in and disrupt your.
It wasn't the first time, I would say, but just a classic goofy guy that does these kind of pranks all the time. So I'll get him one day, though.
Based on the groups today, it really looks like things are kind of starting to take shape for your group. What sort of is the mode of operation now in this latter half?
Well, really to get ready for the season. We've got areas of our game where we've targeted that we want to keep improving, and on a daily basis we're going to work on that. But we've got ourselves in a good place. There's a lot I've really liked about camp so far. We've improved some of the areas of our game, and I think it's been a challenge for a lot of the players, the camp, and that's the type of camp you want to have.
Today, Bruno working a lot with the power play units. What do you kind of like about maybe seeing these units come together at this point?
Well, it's a lot of moving parts because we know we don't have right now. We don't have Nico, so you prepare without Nico, and when Nico gets back, there'll be, we've discussed if he's back, if he's not back, we're fully prepared to switch some things up. We know he's one of our best face-off guys, and winning that face-off in the power play is something that's really important. So. We want to continue to work on those areas. Even last night saw some better things. We're getting more pucks, finding lanes to get pucks to net, getting the support. I think we need improved recovery, the battle on recovery. We've talked about that a lot as a staff, and all the pieces tie together.
What mentality goes into those battle and those recovery that you need to see?
Well, the mentality that if we don't win the battle, it's going to cost our power play a good 20 seconds to get back in the zone and get set up and be ready to reattack again. If you have a clean entry.
You talk about Nico. Is he being evaluated again today, or is that tomorrow? Or
He's been working out. He's in a good place. He's progressing. Just don't have a timetable exactly when yet.
And I knew yesterday you mentioned that you're making roster cuts. Did you do that already?
Or we'll have that. We'll have that announcement at 2.
Okay. Cool.
Lindy, what have you seen from a guy like Palat? What has he brought, whether it's on the ice or veteran leadership so far in the locker room?
He's brought hardness. He's played well in all zones. Plays the game the right way. He has a physical dimension for our centerman down the middle. And I think that's really what he brought. He's brought playing the game the right way, defending well, and playing hard.
Do you
think that things like that rub off on other players when they see a veteran who's been to a Stanley Cup final doing little things?
I think the more years you have, the more the understanding is. It just some players get it sooner than others, but once you have all those years in your tank, it's easy to lend some of that experience. And I think he's probably learned from some of his experiences at the same time.
When it comes to those players that are going to be cut today, what do you want the message to be when you're getting this far in camp and now heading back to Utica?
I continue to get better. The players that don't make it, it's a disappointing day. I think some of those players have had good camps. But obviously, when you're looking at the big picture, it's a long season that you're going to need. Be that best player down there at that position we need, whether that's a defenseman, whether it's a forward, whatever position that is. We're pretty good at Kevin down there saying this is your best guy for the job. So it's a competition for those guys when they go down to continue their growth, continue to try to be that guy that is going to be the next guy to be brought up.
How would you assess the 7-game lightning fast preseason so far?
I've liked, like I said, I told the team today I'm excited about where we've got ourselves to. Obviously, the lineup that we dressed last night, we gave a lot of that time to players that we wanted to look at that don't have a lot of experience, and they were under a lot of pressure at times. So you got to evaluate how they handle that pressure, and that it's another learning experience for them. There's parts of the game I really liked. There's parts that, I know we didn't generate a lot. I think that was due to really you take your top 3 centermen out of the game, and you give other guys an opportunity. You would expect to be not as good offensively.
tomorrow's roster, is that still an opportunity for some of these guys that are left to have a look, or do you really want to have your NHL roster set?
You know, we've obviously got opinions about where everybody's at. Sometimes that last preseason game for teams, I've called it a union game. Sometimes there's not a lot there. You know, you can liken it to the last preseason game in football. Sometimes you get a game, so sometimes you can't read too much into it. You know, even if maybe the opposition, you know, you don't want anybody hurt, you don't want any key players hurt, they know that they're probably within a week of playing a meaningful game. So there's lots of different scenarios. You know, we want to look at guys, but at the same time, there's factors in that last game that we can't control.
Thank you, Lindy.
Nico's absence on the setting, that'll change things when he comes back. Where you have guys, where you had them today, is that kind of where you're comfortable in terms of who's playing where? Like, is the experimenting or the checking out matches with who?
You know, I think all the experimenting is done. I think we got a good idea where we want to play. But I think, you know, inside of a game, if somebody's going real well and maybe there's a line struggling, there's always an opportunity to flip a piece around.